Triggers, no cat, bitch.
That's right.
Yeah, remember them days.
Remember them days? So I found out that you had something to do with Eve and Beanie Siegel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what, 1999?
Boy, you taking me back. I remember, I just remember the events. I don't remember the dates.
I heard that you had rap groups in Philly. Philly most wanted.
There's a few of them. You know what I mean? Me, my brother Mark, and a partner Sadiq, and a partner Roller.
Okay.
Real Roller. We started this company called Black Friday Management, and let's see, we signed. Most Wanted actually got signed first. Most Wanted came through a brother named Stevie G. Shout out to G Funk.
Okay.
Stevie G brought Most Wanted to the table by way of Kurt. Kurt worked for Puff at the time, and Kurt couldn't sign Most Wanted over at Bad Boy, and he suggested that me and Mark get with Stevie G and his sister that were actually managing Most Wanted at the time and brought them to the table.
Okay. Wow. And that was what year?
Told you, don't ask me
Don't
about
ask
the
me.
year. I don't remember the events, bro.
I was just trying to see if I was.
First of all, you jumped right in there. You didn't introduce him.
Oh, I was about to introduce it. I just wanted to build it up so people actually know who we talking to. So we talking to Sherman Byers, the brother of Mark Byers, from Philadelphia, from Germantown.
Mount Airy.
Mount Airy. I didn't want to get the session wrong. Mount Airy. Okay.
Hey, Anthony Richardson, Truck Red Nation on the gram. But yeah, back then they used to inspire me.
Okay.
I watched them, and matter of fact, it was funny. They sold me my first foreign, and it was good times back then. Taught me a lot. Just listening, conversation. Sometimes you gotta learn to keep your mouth shut and your eyes open and your ears open so you can get it and take it all in. So I thank him and always thank him for that times of teaching lessons.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So your family always been in business?
Absolutely. My pop was a serialpreneur. Long before it became such a thing of a serialpreneur. You know what I mean? My house pop hustled everything, but the thing he learned how to hustle more than anything was cars.
Okay. So
cars wound up being a big deal in the household.
And from cars came music? Just the hustle grind?
Cars came, things came, and then music came from cars and things that came.
Oh, all right. I understand.
Well, music, hey, listen, they used to listen Pieces of a Dream live near you?
They lived across the driveway.
Yeah.
Pieces of a Dream lived across the driveway. Pitch Black lived down the street. Around the corner, Breakwater used to perform with K. Williams. So it was always like serious music within the neighborhood.
And it's crazy because I try to find the music on iTunes title. You can't find none of it. You can't find I think the first track or first album we worked with was Eric Gable.
Yep, yeah.
And I couldn't find no music on that. I wanted to play it for you.
Yeah, that was all analog. I became a songwriter at one time, like in regards to getting into the business. I was a songwriter before I was even a manager. I just aspired to get on the business more so than being a songwriter, because at that time a lot of dudes was getting ripped off and snaked, and I was a pretty emotional cat, so
right.
I really understood the business of it more so than anything, because I didn't want to become emotional.
Right. If I can ask you this, when you was actually going through the songwriting process, was it any like musicians that you gave your like music to let you know that your songwriting was good? Or
I'm gonna be honest with you, I became a songwriter by fluke. It was a fluke.
Was it a fluke?
Yeah, it was this talented brother named Maurice Wiltshire. We were representing him, and Maurice was probably like one of the first, new young producers that came out of Philly. This is Scott Storch, Touch of Jazz, Rodney Jerkins, and we wound up. He was 100% writer, which meant like he was like the R. Kelly type, and we had taken some money to work on Freddie Jackson at the time, and it was like that was like one of the biggest things that we could have worked on. It's like either either working on either working on Luther Vandross or you working on Freddie Jackson at that time.
I know Freddie Jackson. You got my lady, right?
Yeah, so we were working on Freddie Jackson, and my man Mo got writer's block, and the company had already given us half of the money for the job, and we needed to be at work to perform the job on Monday, and my man got writer's block Thursday night.
Yeah.
So I'm just a stickler on being accountable. So I'm like, I done took the half of the money, and now we in a bad position.
Right.
So I just said, the hell with it. I'm gonna take my shot at it. So I got me a glass of Chardonnay, got me a daggone cassette player, and just kept hitting play and rewind and playing rewind and playing rewind until I felt as though I came up with something that was palatable even to my own ear. And I wound up, singing the record down to my man Maurice over the phone, and he was at Sigma, and he recorded the demo, and it wound up getting placed and wound up being a single.
Oh, wow.
So the first record that I ever wrote wound up getting placed.
All right, and you a business person. I graduated business school, so I gotta ask you, how was the numbers on that first writing credit?
It was nice.
It was nice. Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah,
let me find my air horn for that one, man.
That was nice, bro. Real nice.
That's what's up,
man. Get some air horns off of that one, man.
It's what led me believe there was gold in them there hills. You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, this was a fluke. What if I took it serious, or what if somebody else was better than me, really took it serious? What could it wind up being?
And it's funny that you say if somebody else, because I looked at your brother's story. Mm-hmm. I was watching something they did for Temple, and he was talking about how instead of managing musicians, he managed producers. Yeah. Producers always gonna be in between musicians and the companies.
Well, the thing about managing, the key to the whole song business or the music business is he or she that creates the song is the biggest winner. The song is the product. Artists, they dispensable. They come and go.
Right.
As you say, I've managed a multitude of artists and they've come and gone. Right. I still remain because I've only concerned myself about the song.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So the song is the product. It's not the artist.
Okay. And since you touched on it a little bit, I seen you work with Glenn Lewis.
Yeah.
And that was like probably one of my favorite R&B singers.
Glenn was the ladies' favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I always wondered why he only had that one album, or
a lot of variables. One of the reasons why it was only one album is because of changes at that time in the Sony system. You know what I mean? They went through big changes at the time. And sometimes artists they could run out of patience, and sometimes when that artist runs out of patience, sometimes you have to let people
go, right?
Sometimes you gotta let people,
find
deal with the decision that they want to make for themselves.
Okay.
I've never been one that want to hold somebody. You know what I mean? If you feel as though you don't want us to manage you any longer, cool. I'm not gonna sit down and have a long, drawn out discussion with you about why you should stay and this, that, and the other, because it's not in my nature. I believe in myself first. I mean, at the end of the day, for every artist that we've ever been involved in at that particular time, we built them from the ground up. So when you could build something else, you don't necessarily worry about it. You could just go find something else to put your time and energy into, to put some equity into it and for it to turn into something.
You say equity. I'm finding that in any business you do, you don't really make anything until you put your all into it. You start investing in yourself. You start sacrificing things that you usually do. And was it hard to make that sacrifice when you first started?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, when me and Mark first got into business, we probably were, not even probably, we were making an investment into the music business without making a dime at a reverend $100,000 a year per year for 4 years before we made a dime.
Oh, wow.
So when these kids sit back and talk about, well, you know, I'm this and I'm that. Well, you know, I should be on and blase, blase, blase. Y'all live in a digital world. Like, we come in an analog world. In the analog world, I mean, give you, for instance, even if somebody specs you on studio time, which meant that they not even charging you for the studio time, you still got to come up with tape costs. You still have to buy a 2-inch slave, a 2-inch reel, and a 2-inch sleeve. That's $500 just for the tape.
Wow.
Now you can almost buy a Pro Tools for
Right.
$500.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the times were different. You know what I mean? The money was different.
And times are different now too. Do you see the business getting better or actually
I
getting?
think that it's the business has evolved.
It evolved.
You know what I mean? It was a while before people got used to it taking a shift digitally. But once people realized that the digital shift was here to stay and it wasn't going anywhere, then it got figured out. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than 20 years ago when we used to have, 35 years ago,
Reel to reel.
when we used to have a phone in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, we used to,
You adapt.
used to think that, at one time people used to be like, I need a phone in the house and I need my cell phone. Now people are like, I don't know why I have a house phone.
It doesn't.
Don't make no sense.
So everything evolves.
Triggers, no cap, bitch.